On today's Sports Card Investor, I bring in longtime hobby veteran and local card shop owner Joe Davis to talk about the impact of everything going on right now, how that has impacted sports card shops, how it has impacted manufacturers and the hobby as a whole, and more importantly, what the upcoming months could look like for you as a sports card collector and investor.
My name is Jeff Wilson. By day, I invest in tech companies, and at night, I invest in sports cards. Join me on my journey to profit from the hobby we all love.
Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode. And today, a very special guest, Joe Davis of GotBaseballCards.com, a big card shop owner and online retailer, and we are about to have a great conversation about the state of the hobby and everything he is seeing from his perspective as a longtime hobby veteran and a card shop owner. This is a very important conversation. And we're going to talk at the beginning of this about his impressions on, kind of where everything is right now. And then I've taken a series of questions that my members of my membership program submitted through my members only Facebook group and my members only Discord chat channel. And I asked Joe those questions. So a really rich episode with a lot of great content. We're going to jump right into the interview now. Please welcome Joe Davis. All right, Joe, welcome to Sports Card Investor again.
Great to be back.
Great to have you, and I appreciate this conversation today. Obviously, a very interesting time for the hobby. Interesting might be a kind word to be using.
Yeah.
But you have been in the hobby for 40 years. I know you've owned your card shop now for around 30.
Correct.
Have you ever seen anything quite like this before?
Not something this abrupt. I mean, we went from, other than, 9/11, we saw a dramatic shift in the economy overnight, basically. But the hobby, of course, I should say the whole economy, but our hobby specifically was riding such a high. Things have been, I remember at some of the industry conferences I was at earlier this year, and I was talking to other retailers, and they were just saying, we cannot believe how good things are right now. Like, we can't even measure how good things are because the hobby was so strong. And then all of a sudden, over the last couple of weeks, you've got stores being shut down all over the country, and products are still holding up. Recent basketball products are holding really well. You're not seeing people dumping products, but just the whole face of the industry has kind of shifted, at least temporarily, because you've got retailers across the country. I think, it feels like half the stores in the country are closed right now. So it's very different, and we're all having to reinvent ourselves online to stay connected with our customer base.
Yeah, it is such a shame. From obviously there's, much greater issues at play here in people's health and everything than just the hobby. But speaking specifically about the hobby, the timing of this is such a shame because things were so hot and cards were going up and up. Now to play devil's advocate a little bit though, I have seen some people, on Twitter, some of my followers, some people who have been sending me messages on my Instagram and commenting on my YouTube. Some of them say, hey, maybe this is a good thing because maybe some of the price escalation of certain players was getting a little bit out of control. Maybe people were jumping into this who were, just flipping, and maybe it wasn't what was happening. Maybe wasn't long-term sustainable anyway. So maybe this will kind of reground the hobby a little bit, and then we can kind of grow in a more sustainable fashion when we get on the other side of this. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, the hope is that we've seen so many new collectors come in, and some, I've seen a lot of old collectors come back, who truly are just enjoying collecting again, and that's been great to see. But we've also seen some come in just for the quick flip, and so we may lose some of those who had just jumped in because they were seeing the escalation of prices. But my hope is that we don't lose those collectors who rediscovered the joy of collecting, that they still keep that passion, because collecting is still a fantastic thing to do. It's so much fun. And so I hope we don't lose them in this as well.
Yeah, and I'm still, and I've said this on previous episodes, I am still very optimistic about the hobby overall, because I feel like all of the reasons that made the popularity surge in the last year, all of those reasons still exist.
Exactly.
The fact that people were reconnecting with their youth, and the fact that cards are much better produced these days, and that there's now grading, and there's, much more liquidity and ability to buy and sell online, and all of these things that when people are rediscovering the hobby, just like I did a couple of years ago, I'm now, I found my love for it again and became deeply into it, and like the hobby so much more today than how things were back then. And so those things are all still true. So I agree with you that, economically right now, people are being cautious. Prices are dropping some from some of the highs we've seen. And that's probably the prudent thing economically. Certainly, if anyone out there is, worried about their job security at all, or, God forbid, they were in a service industry or something like that and have already been laid off, then yeah, economically take a step back from the hobby. Don't buy and sell and rip cards, and let's be smart here. But I think that hopefully the country will return to a place of sound economic footing in the near future, and and then and hopefully we won't see unemployment get too crazy. And I just actually did a live stream, which I'll push out as well to the audience here, a few minutes ago, and I was talking to my members, and I said, this government package that passed last night, the CARES Act, really is a powerful package for small business. Joe, I don't know, have you actually, and it only came out yesterday, but have you read much on that?
I have not. Now, I was talking with another business owner specifically about some of the details and the way the loans work, with as far as protecting your employees and things like that, which if what he shared with me was accurate, it's really good for small business.
Yeah, I would think it would help, your shop tremendously. It's going to help several businesses that I own or that I'm part of. I've only started reading about it yesterday, and had got some information from my accountant, so I'm not an expert on it by any means. But from what I understand, they put together a pretty rich package to keep small business owners keeping all of their employees paid and their job secure. And if you're doing that as a small business owner, you're getting the reward of the government actually essentially paying for your payroll and paying for your rent and paying for your utilities and paying for your health insurance for a period of time, for a couple months. And you have to apply for this, and there's some various mechanisms to it, but the general concept that as a small business owner, you and I are getting incentivized to maintain your employees and to continue to pay them, because, by the way, you start to become ineligible for this if you start laying employees off. So it's smart, right? And so hopefully it will keep, so as long as things like that are able to keep unemployment down at a reasonably low level, and we don't get to crazy 20%, 30% unemployment as some have predicted, then hopefully we're going to come out of this the other side okay economically. And if that's the case, then I am very optimistic that the card market is going to go back up again. Maybe we won't have a few of the same flippers that we had previously, but I think overall that solid foundation of collectors that you described that have rediscovered the hobby, I think they'll be back.
Yeah, because the fundamentals of the hobby are just as strong as they were 2 months ago. We've just got this serious aberration in the economy right now, speaking from just the financial standpoint. But the fundamentals of the hobby, the limited production, the great demand for athletes, and the great the exposure that these athletes have worldwide, a worldwide customer base. We've got all that still going on once they start playing again. So
absolutely, all those things are true. So as someone who's owned your card shop since right around 1990,
91,
91, So you mentioned 9/11 earlier. So you went through, as a card shop owner, you went through 9/11, and
Right.
then you also went through the 2008 housing crisis. And
Yep.
actually, one of my members on my Discord group was particularly curious about this. Jay Sark. He wanted to know, what was it like going through the housing crisis and also 9/11, and what did you see economically? What was the impact it had on your shop, and what might you be taking from that and kind of applying it forward to what you're seeing right now?
Well, both of them were very difficult. I remember them both well. Um, with the housing crisis, things just got continued to get worse, and I mean, it stayed bad for a while. I mean, it stayed bad. It was a long recovery out of that. My hope is that with the situation we're in now, my hope is that once things turn around for the country, once this once we hit the end of the coronavirus scare, once we feel like we as a country are on the road to recovery, cases drop down, hopefully some of these treatments, they prove to be effective and so forth. Once there's hope again in the country, I hope we will see a quick turnaround for the economy and our industry. Right now, everyone in the country is focused on the daily briefings, and and I understand that. I'm right there with them, trying to see what's going on, trying to see what's coming from the medical community and so forth. And that's our focus as a country right now. And so I believe once we turn the corner, I pray it's tomorrow, but if it's, in a month, if it's in 2 months, whatever, I believe hopefully that we see a quick rebound. Whereas with 2008 specifically, that was a really long haul. Things were bad for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we will see a much quicker rebound this time.
Fingers crossed for sure.
Yeah.
So definitely so. Definitely so. Yeah, it'd be great to get to the other side of this. Goodness gracious. So I'm curious, as a card shop owner, what are things like today? Like how has this had a impact? I'm sure it's had a tremendous impact on your business over the last month.
Oh yeah.
What is the reality of this impact for you?
Well, we're both an online retailer and a brick and mortar, and so we proactively we chose 2 weeks ago to close our retail store for the safety of customers. I think we were one of the first ones in the country. I'm in a Facebook group with a number of retailers, and I shared it on there. I said, this is what we're doing. We think it's the best thing for our customers and employees. And then some others immediately followed suit. And then now many nationwide are being forced to close, whether they want to or not, depending on their community. My county, Gwinnett County in Georgia, just announced a stay-at-home order last night. So over the last 2 weeks, we've still offered curbside pickup to customers. We've still been promoting, live breaks via our Facebook page. It got baseball cards, things like that. And we'll be doing more of that because I'll be working from home. And a lot of shops across the country that I talked to have been implementing the same thing. Some of them have actually implemented home delivery services, curbside pickup, basically any way to stay connected with their customers and provide services to their customers. So it's really been encouraging that I've seen my peers bend over backwards to try to help their customers in different ways.
Yeah, that's during times like this, as a business owner, you got to get creative, right? And
Yes.
I've seen a lot of creativity from your shop. I've obviously following you on Facebook. I thought you have been in particular trying to be proactive about what can I do creatively to kind of get ahead of this. And I thought that
Right.
shifting to the curbside pickup, and for a card shop to have curbside pickup, I mean, that's kind of a funny thing, but I mean, it makes total sense. So it's a shame that as of today you can't do that anymore.
Right. Right.
But being able to do breaks out of your house or ship things out of your house, or
Yeah.
whatever, to kind of keep things going.
Yeah,
So
I'm actually going to be doing that today. I'm going to be shifting a lot of product here to my house and setting up some break areas and things like that, so I can stay connected with our community of collectors.
yeah, there you go. So, and actually, so for everybody watching, first of all, Joe's website is gotbaseballcards.com. And your breaks. So I guess so. So first of all, let me just say in general, for those of you out there who are watching who are not concerned right now economically from a standpoint, like you're not, obviously you're not concerned about your job or something like that, then one thing you can be doing to help in this situation is supporting your small businesses, whatever they might be. Support your local small businesses because they do need support right now.
Yes.
Local card shops are of those local small businesses that
Right.
need support. So, supporting a business like Joe's is a great way to kind of keep things going, keep people employed, keep money flowing through the economy so that the economy isn't grinding to a halt. So
Yeah.
for those people, Joe, who are interested potentially participating in some of your breaks or checking out your online selection, how would they do all of that?
Our primary site is gotbaseballcards.com, where we offer boxes, singles. We've actually been adding a lot of new PSA inventory on there lately. Again, that's gotbaseballcards.com. They can follow us on Facebook under Got Baseball Cards, where we do live stream breaks on there. And then our actual break website is usbreaks.com, where we have, I know right now we've got National Treasures football. We've got a number of soccer cases. I think we've got immaculate basketball from 1819 coming up. So a lot of stuff going on over there. So they can support us on either of those places, and we greatly appreciate it.
1819 Immaculate Basketball. That's one of my favorite releases. I actually bought a few boxes of that from Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And those are beautiful cards. I just absolutely love 1819 Immaculate Basketball. I think that's one of the best, honestly, card releases I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm a big fan of some of the rookies from that year. So
right. Me too. Yeah, I love Trey and Luca.
Yeah, for sure. Love that set. Love that year. Yeah, very good. And I know that you wanted to offer a promo code as well for anybody who is watching this show, be specific to viewers of Sports Card Investor. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, right now we've set something up for now through April 15th. If you go to our site and use the promo code SCI for Sports Card Investor, SCI free, all in caps, SCI free at checkout. You get free shipping on any product. If you buy one single card, you get free shipping. If you buy boxes, it's free shipping. And also, everyone who participates using that promo code on April 15th, we're going to do a random drawing for some box giveaways that we'll have on our Facebook page. So everybody that participates between now and April 15th, we'll be doing that.
Awesome. That's really nice of you to do, Joe. Thank you. So again, gotbaseballcards.com and promo code SCI free for free shipping and the ability to get entered into a drawing for some more free product, just simply for being a Sports Card Investor listener.
Yes.
So thank you, Joe, for doing that. So what I'd love to do is I've got some questions from members of my membership program. So anticipating being able to do this interview with you, I let my members of my membership program know that I was going to do this and ask if they had any questions that they would love to hear your opinion on. So I'm going to go through some of those. So first pulling a few from my Facebook group. So let's talk about one. This is from Jason McKee about just kind of the card business in general. Jason, it sounds like, may have some interest in opening up a card shop of his own. He said, what is the first thing you should do after kind of establishing a business plan?
I get asked this a lot, or lately I've been asked it a lot, because there's a lot of people who are interested in launching it for the first time, in a long time. A lot of people are getting back into the hobby. A lot of people want to start a business. There's a lot of things you need to look at. I always tell people it's great to first build an online presence, because it's very tough to just start out, open a brick and mortar store and live off of that. So I always encourage people, before they try to launch brick and mortar, to first build an online presence, whether it be their eBay business or launching a website or building a good social media following with breaks, whatever it might be, or all of the above. Build that first so that you actually have a name out there before you launch your brick and mortar. Once you launch the brick and mortar, the first things you want to try to do is get established with distributors, because some of them will only sell to you if you have a physical storefront. And then, of course, try to get direct accounts with Topps and Panini and Upper Deck and Leaf and so forth, so that you can buy product direct. That's very tough to do right now because there is so much demand for direct accounts. I know I believe Tops right now, if I'm correct, only has about 275 direct accounts. And there's always probably a waiting list of people trying to get in. So, but as soon as you have your business established, you want to apply, try to get your foot in the door with the manufacturers. I remember we did that back in 91 and 92, to get our accounts set up, and thankfully have maintained those. So, that, that, I always tell people, start one word of advice with our industry. You don't have to be on Main Street. You can be what I'm saying is you don't have to have a ton of foot traffic coming by your storefront every day. We're a destination business. So, Jeff, you've been to our retail store. We're a little bit off the beaten path. We're in a shopping center, but we kind of stand off to the side of it. People have to know where we are to get to us. They're not just going to see us driving by on the main road there. So people will find you. So don't overpay for rent. I've always been a big believer that, try to have enough space that you need to work in, but find it at a reasonable square footage rate, because people will find you in this bit, because it's not like there's 20 of us in every city. So if you're there, I mean, we have people drive from all over the Southeast to us. So, don't overpay for rent, and build your following, work for those direct accounts, try to find a really good deal, start small. Don't go into a lot of debt, to start the business. So
that's a great set of advice, Joe. Appreciate that.
mm-hmm.
Another question from the Facebook group from Kevin Torres. Would you recommend using SGC to grade your cards? SGC has been a company that's played in the with the older cards for a long time, right? More vintage. Recently, there are some groups. There's a guy who I know who runs an online consignment and card investors group called Investacard. And he is down in South Florida, and he's getting a ton of modern cards graded through SGC, and is really, it's his opinion that SGC should really, for modern, rise to the level of a BGS or a PSA. It's not there yet, but what's your opinion on, kind of SGC in general?
I have a lot of experience with that. We actually just were recently consigned over 1,000 SGC cards that we sold on eBay for a customer. So I'll speak from two point of views. As a collector, I have no problem buying SGC. I think their grading standards are right up there with PSA and BGS. If I'm a buyer and I'm just going to put that card in my collection, I have no problem buying SGC. As a reseller, at this time, I don't recommend grading with SGC if you have when you have PSA and BGS as other options. What I saw from the 1,000+ cards that we listed, which were all modern, they performed very poorly relative to PSA. Now I will say most of this stuff was soccer. In this consignment, it was soccer and basketball. And the soccer community, as you know, we're the number 2 soccer breaker on the planet. And we had a lot of our customers like, what is SGC? Never heard of them. And so they weren't bidding and buying things because they didn't even know what it was. SGC's been around for decades, but a lot of people are not educated on them in the modern market. Now those who buy pre-war stuff, SGC is highly, highly respected in that field. But for modern, as of the time of this recording, I don't really recommend grading with them because I don't see the resale being consistent with PSA and BGS at this time.
It's not right now. I think honestly it would be a good thing for the hobby if it became that, because having a third grading option I think would be a positive, and especially with how behind and backed up BGS and PSA have been, and now of course unfortunately this stoppage of business, both BGS and PSA are shut down at the moment. Of course,
Right.
maybe as well. I don't know. But that's only going to, I imagine, put them further behind when they come back to work. So
Right.
having another grading option, I think, would be a positive for the hobby.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you. We would need to see the SGC prices, continue to kind of reach the others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Take a couple more questions from my Facebook group. Let's talk about releases. And so this is an interesting one as a shop owner. Is it still a good idea? Are people still pre-ordering now? Is it still a good time, good idea to pre-order now? Are you seeing delays in releases? Are releases still going to be coming out as scheduled? What's your thought on all of that?
I've talked closely with the head of the hobby for Topps and Panini, or emailed them back and forth about this. Topps did push back Tribute as an example, which was supposed to come out next week. It's been pushed back. Now it's to be determined. No set new release date. Panini, I just got an email from them yesterday, and I believe 5 different products have been pushed back. If I can pull up my email, I will let you know. It's mainly stuff that was coming out later anyway. I know Chronicles football's been pushed back. Flawless football's been pushed back. Nothing like in the next couple of weeks has been changed. I know, the one question everyone's being asked about is Bowman, because I got multiple calls about that yesterday, which is scheduled for April 15th. And as of right now, that's still the scheduled release date. And we're still seeing plenty of pre-sale activity on Bowman. I had multiple calls again yesterday wanting to pre-order it. So, yeah, I think the last thing when I talked to Kevin at Topps about this, he said that they're watching it really closely. That not that things may not change, I guess, was my interpretation from that. But as of right now, I believe Tribute, I know, has been pushed back. I believe one of the Star Wars releases was pushed back, and I was told some of the soccer releases have been pushed back. But your main line, like, Bowman and Allen Ginter, stuff like that, so far is still on the same schedule.
Yeah.
So we might see, again, this situation changes daily. It's like I've been telling my employees, it feels like a week's worth of news happens every day. So, and that's true for this industry as well, because I know that Leaf has delayed some releases as well. Leaf right now, they can't ship product in the area they're at in Texas. So I fear we'll probably see more of that. I hope not, but it's probably just going to, if half the country is shut down and they can't receive shipments, what's the point in shipping to them?
That's true. That's true.
So,
yeah, that's interesting. And of course, the one that I, as an investor, certainly have my eye on. Honestly, maybe not as much from an investment standpoint this year, more from just a curiosity standpoint, and that's National Treasures basketball, because I just cannot wait to see how crazy it goes with Zion's, RPAs.
right.
I think that one has been pushed to mid-May, is I think the latest that I've heard on that one.
Yeah, I haven't checked really. Yeah, I could see that happening. A big release like that might get pushed back, but
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything definite on it yet.
I think that one had been pushed back a bit to mid-May is the last that I heard on that. So I'll be curious to see. I'll be interested. Like, let's say the NBA announces they're going to restart in June or July, it would be interesting to see when does Panini actually put that out? Because that's like that's their big splash, release that everyone, now that we're already through Prism and Optic, like National Treasures, that's going to be such a splash amongst all the breakers,
Right.
and all that kind of thing. It's going to be interesting to watch this year.
I did just pull up that release calendar, if this will help your viewers.
Sure.
Noir basketball is now April 22nd. Flawless football is now April 8th. Chronicles football is now April 17th. Impeccable soccer is now June 10th. National Treasures is currently scheduled for May 13th.
May 13th. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So hopefully we'll still see some of these products coming out in April, but it'll be interesting to see, if there's any type of further delays or anything like that.
Right.
So I'll take one or two more questions from the Facebook group and then a couple questions from the Discord chat as well. Scott Markman asked, how do you list so many cards and keep track of the high volume of shipping? And this is a great question because, Joe, I believe you have about 1 million cards for sale on eBay. Is that right?
I think right now we're only at about 700,000.
Oh, only 700,000. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. This downtime, we got plenty of time to list. So yeah.
True.
We have a system that we've worked on for decades, literally, where we break singles down, by sport, then year, then product, then like inserts within a product, and everything's ordered by year, sport, brand, everything down at our facility. We use various listing tools. We use two different types of software that where we have databases where we can literally just go in and, like, say we buy 5 sets of Prism basketball. We can literally just go in and hit add 5, boom, and we've added 5 of every card. We've already added the photos. It provides us stock pricing, at that time. A lot of times, which we have to modify with the changing market. But of course, with eBay, listing commons is pretty easy because there's a 99-cent minimum anyway. So you're not sitting there saying, well, should I price this at a quarter or 50 cents or whatever, because it's a 99-cent minimum anyway. And then we run a lot of promotions to provide additional discounts. But as far as just stock pricing, the pricing part's not nearly as complicated as getting the images done and keeping it organized. But yeah, I have a team that's constantly working on sorting, listing, imaging, so forth.
Yeah, I imagine that is a big job for sure. Final question I'll take from the Facebook group, from Kurt Moody. He says, if you're going to be purchasing raw cards, he's interested in purchasing raw cards from eBay and then maybe having them graded. But any tips on when you're looking at a card for sale online and you can't physically see it? Any tips to know what you're buying is actually going to be, potentially gem mint gradable?
Okay. One thing I would recommend is the higher dollar the card, the more risk you run buying it raw, because the higher dollar the card, the more likely someone else would have already graded it if it was worth grading. Second, look at the other inventory that seller is offering. I do this too at shows. If you, whether you're buying it from an eBay seller or you're at a show, if the seller has a ton of graded inventory and then he's got a bunch of raw inventory, then more than likely he would have graded that raw card if it was worth grading. Same thing on eBay. A lot of times, if you see, now, I mean, we do sell a lot of mid-grade vintage stuff like that that we don't feel like it's worth putting the money into grading. But like, if I have a high grade vintage card, I'm going to grade it. So if you have a seller who's let's take Zion for instance. If you look at a seller on eBay and he's got 10 Prism, or he's got several Prism Zion rookies, PSA or BGS graded or SGC graded, and then he's selling some raw ones as well, you can assume more than likely he's already graded the ones that were worth grading. So you may not want to risk buying his raw cards. But if you're dealing with another seller and all they sell is raw cards, there's probably less risk there. So, that's one thing to consider. And two, as you and I have discussed before, a lot of times I'm a big believer of buying, like if you're prospecting, say you're buying at 4 or 5 different guys out of Prism or Optic this year, I'm a big believer in just trying to buy complete sets, because you probably come out better financially anyway. And then guys who are selling complete sets are not necessarily cherry picking, so they're probably just selling the sets as they are. So you have a good shot. We do that a lot. We buy a lot of full sets of Topps Chrome and Prism and Optic, stuff like that, and then break the cards out, for grading ourselves. So there's a couple of tips that might help them.
Yeah, and Joe and I did a video probably a couple months ago now called I think tips and tricks for or hidden ways to find value in sports cards, that type of thing, and you can find that in my YouTube channel if you go back a couple of months. And Joe that was one of the tips Joe shared on that video. Had a lot of other really good tips as well. So that would be something I recommend watching if you haven't had a chance to yet. Let's take a couple of questions from my Discord chat. So one of the guys was saying, is this so we've seen the market drop now some. We've seen, I've seen overall maybe about a 20 to 30% decrease in the price of graded singles, especially for a lot of the guys who had kind of run up in price prior to the sports hiatus. Not the rule with every guy. Like, we've continued to see like a Jordan, some Jordan cards breaking records. I saw a LeBron card earlier this week break records in terms of sale price. So not every card has come down, but a number of cards have come down. And so general opinion is now the time to buy. And this is, of course, looking into a crystal ball, and neither of us know for sure. But if you were going to buy some graded singles, are you buying now? Are you waiting a few more weeks to see what happens? Are you waiting a couple months? Are you not doing it at all right now? What is your thought there?
Yeah, it's definitely a guessing game right now. Like I said, as you advise, those who aren't hurting financially right now, it might be a safe time to buy into the dip, that we're dealing with right now. One tip: with a lot of people at home, a lot of people with free time, you've got a lot of novices throwing stuff on eBay right now who may not normally do that. Some who just need extra income, some who just have time to do it who normally wouldn't have time. So, and some of them don't know the market. Some of them, especially on buy it now listings, may list stuff at a discount. So one thing I recommend, let's say you're a big Giannis collector, go on eBay, search for whichever cards of him you're looking for, and look at just buy it nows, and look at recently listed. So sometimes you can pick things off as soon as they get put on that are underpriced. If you're just bidding in an auction, that you're usually not going to get the bargain there. But I've often found some really good deals that way at any time of year, but especially right now, where you might see a bigger volume of novice sellers throwing some of their inventory on, trying to generate some cash. That might be a way to find some bargains right now on eBay.
Recently listed. That is a good trick. I like that trick. And for folks who are users of my Market Movers data tool, I just recently built into that, where whenever you're looking at any player throughout my entire tool, there's a link to immediately go over to eBay and see that exact card on eBay, and it gives you a real clean set of eBay results of everything that's for sale. So that's a good point. When you click over, then there's a little drop down in the upper right of eBay, where you can then specify if you want to see the recently listed as priority in that list. So that actually would be you could click over for Market Movers and then hit the drop down for recently listed and see exactly what you're talking about, and maybe find some deals that way.
Yep.
Interesting. Very cool. Another user from the Discord wondering if with rookie cards getting so much attention, is maybe now a sounder strategy to go after veterans, Hall of Famers, etc. I mean, my opinion on that is that's always a sound strategy, right? I mean, the guys who are the proven guys, rookie cards, that you're taking a lot more risk. There may be a lot more upside in the short term, especially, but you're also taking a lot more risk. So I think going after it just kind of, in my opinion, it depends what type of investor you are. And I think that now personally, I gravitate towards the rookie cards and the newer guys, because I like the idea. For me, it's a little more exciting, and I like the idea of I can get in at this guy today. He can get hot this year, and I can sell him at the end of the season or sell him next season and get a quick return. But from a long-term standpoint, you're often better off parking your money in those older players if you're going to hold for the very long term. But curious to get your opinion on kind of those two styles, especially in today's climate.
Yeah, well, I've been amazed. Of course, I've been amazed at some of the movement on rookie cards this year, and it's like the Luka National Treasures that sold for like 230,000, I think, from last year. But I am seeing a lot of movement on certain what I'll call legendary status players like LeBron. We're seeing a lot of activity of people buying up all of his old Prism cards and then grading them, buying up all of his old Topps Chrome cards any year and then grading them. So we saw the same thing with the tragic passing of Kobe earlier this year. We saw a lot of that, and still see some of that on some of his cards, like the Chrome and the Prisms. People are buying them and grading them. So in baseball, I had a talk before we closed with a retail customer, and he's now buying up Mike Trout refractors like any year, buying any PSA 10 Trout refractors, and he's just putting them up, and he said, sometimes, you can buy he'll buy current year stuff, sometimes $25 for a PSA 10, and he just thinks that's a great long term investment, because Trout's already kind of achieved that legendary status in the hobby, even though he doesn't have a ring yet. Saying, but everybody, he's the modern day Mickey Mantle for our industry. And so there are people, there's that handful of guys, you've got maybe 4 or 5 in each sport that have achieved that status in the eyes of collectors. Curry's right up there too. He's not up there with LeBron, but he's already got multiple, MVPs and titles, and has a huge fan base and huge following. And so there's certain guys that are probably safer. You're not going to see those legendary status guys soften necessarily, whereas the rookies, you're going to see a lot more ups and downs. So we are seeing that as well, especially your big names like LeBron and Trout and so forth.
Yeah, that's a cool strategy with Trout. I like that. That strategy has worked really well over in basketball. I know for LeBron, like you see LeBron's Prism Silvers from any year going for a lot of money, and that's kind of the equivalent of maybe a Topps Chrome Refractor in baseball. That's a cool way to approach things. Cool. Well, first of all, I wanted to thank all of the members of my membership program for submitting all of these great questions. One of the things about my membership program is I want to try to give my members the opportunity to kind of get priority on asking questions, and got a lot of really great questions. So thanks to all the members who submitted them. If we didn't get to your question today, hopefully we will in future iterations of me talking to Joe be able to address it. But Joe, any final thoughts here before we wrap this?
I want to try to share a word of encouragement to collectors. It's a tough time for our country. It's a tough time for collectors right now because a lot of your local card shops closed. I encourage you try to still support them if they sell online any way that you can, because they still need the business to keep their employees employed. I tell you, if you've got a local shop in your area, support them, not me. Support your local shop because they're important to this industry, and there are a lot of my friends across the country. And just hang on. We will get to the other side of this. There will be hopefully a return to normalcy for collectors. Some hoping sooner rather than later. But just hold on and enjoy time. Those of you who are on stay-at-home orders right now, enjoy time with your family. Enjoy time working on your collections from home, and take advantage of that time. And so things will return to normal. Just may be a while.
Yeah, and please do your part by, as Joe just said, stay home, stay safe, follow the orders, because if you want sports back on and you want this country healthy again and moving forward, then the best thing you can do to contribute is to stay home, do the social distancing, follow the orders, and also, as Joe said, support your local businesses however you can. So. Yeah. Awesome thoughts there, Joe. I really appreciate you coming on. I think this was great and hopefully provided a lot of perspective to everyone listening.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
All right, take care, Joe.
All right, everybody. I hope you appreciated that episode with Joe. I thought there was a lot of great conversation there. First of all, I would love for you to check out my membership program. So when I do episodes like this in the future, if you want to be able to have your questions answered, then become a member of my membership program for only $9 a month. You can have priority asking questions to me, asking questions to people like Joe when I do episodes like this. To join my membership program, go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on the membership link in the main menu bar. Again, sportscardinvestor.com and click on membership. And of course, it comes with a lot of really cool benefits and features. And also, don't forget to support Joe Davis and your local card shops. Joe Davis specifically, his website is gotbaseballcards.com, and the promo code that he is offering exclusive for Sports Card Investor listeners is promo code SCI free, capital S, capital C, capital I for Sports Card Investor, free, SCI free, and that will give you free shipping on any item on his entire website, and it will enter you into a contest only for Sports Card Investor listeners who use the promo code to win some cool free stuff in a giveaway on April the 15th. So please consider supporting Joe at gotbaseballcards.com. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I'll see you back real soon with my next one. Take care.